I remember when me and my friends got to this girl's house, no joke, all the girls looked fantastic. But when I saw all my homies go towards the girls they wanted and that they were talking to already, I realized that the one and only girl that was left was, well, let's just say I was taking one for the team. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to the insane but super embarrassing story. So today's story all takes place back in my grade 11 year, and in grade 11, I'm not gonna lie, I was a major player. I've said this many times on the channel, and I know you guys are probably getting sick of it, but I gotta really make sure you guys understand that I would literally do anything that walked. I know how bad that sounds, but you gotta understand, no joke, I was just that much of a player. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember I was walking to the cafeteria, headed to go see the boys that I usually hang out with. And the boys were usually just a group of 5 guys, including me, that would always just hang out, do crazy shenanigans, and play video games together all the time. Back throughout middle school and high school, it was very common for a guy to have a group that would be considered the boys for them. But I remember one time when I was walking up to them to go see what they were doing in the cafeteria, I ended up seeing they were all talking about one of my homies' girlfriends. Because in my grade 11 year, apparently one of the boys ended up scoring one of the hot cheerleaders in our high school. And I remember when the boys were sitting in the cafeteria that day, they were all basically looking on this guy's phone and they were scrolling through his girlfriend's Instagram to find hot friends that she had. This wasn't uncommon for guys to do, and honestly, I ended up joining in to see, you know, if there was anything for me or anyone that I could at least be interested in. But I remember I got there too late and all of them already chose what girls they were gonna go for in that friend group. So I ended up basically not being able to decide what I wanted. It kind of sucked, and even though I could have gone behind someone's back and totally pulled a girl that was one of her friends, I'm gonna be honest, I just didn't want to play it that way. Because if there was one code I wasn't gonna break, it was the bro code. But anyways, going on with the story, I remember as they were all sitting down, basically, like, you know, trying to slide, I ended up sitting there going, well, is there anything at least left for me that's like, you know, at least a hot girl? I'm not really sure, Bubba. I can ask my girlfriend though if you want. I ended up saying no, don't tell your girlfriend, because honestly, I didn't want his girlfriend thinking that I was basically desperate. And well, one thing led to another. Throughout the entire school day, apparently, for some reason, my phone kept going off over and over and over and over again. And every time I went to go check it to see if it was a girl DMing me, it ended up being the boys group chat and how my friends were pulling the girls that they wanted. I ended up getting super annoyed and kind of just, I don't know, jealous in a way because, well, like I wanted to shoot my shot. Like I wanted a chance as well with one of the hot girl cheerleaders that apparently my friend's girlfriend's friends with. Yeah, that was a tongue twister. When the school day ended, I remember I started to basically head to my car to head home. And as I was walking there, out of nowhere, my homie runs up to me. He runs up to me in my car and he says, yo, Bubba, bro, me and all the guys are going to my girlfriend's place later. And honestly, man, like apparently there's still like one girl left and she's apparently coming over to my girlfriend's place tonight. So for her not to be alone, would it be cool if like, you know, you showed up? I ended up getting super excited and I'm like, hell yeah, like I'll be there. Sure, why not? Everyone's got a girl. That's perfect. And basically I ended up shaking his hand, dabbing him up, and I ended up getting inside my car and driving home. When I got home, I got pretty hyped up and I remember I kept asking in the boys group chat if anyone knew what this girl looked like, just so I know what I'm working with. But apparently no one knew her and she was a girl from out of town. And I started to kind of worry because every time I've heard of a girl coming out of town to, well, our town, I always knew that there was a 50-50 chance that this girl could either be super ugly and super not my type to being super attractive and a 10 out of 10 with a little bit of crazy because no girl's perfect. But I remember as I was getting ready, I remember I kept asking in the group chat anyway and still no one had an answer. And when it was finally time for me to meet up with the boys to go to the get together, I ended up basically getting in my car, driving there, and that's when I got a phone call. I got a phone call from my friend's girlfriend, and to be honest, I did not know she had my number. But when I answered it, I said, hey, I didn't know you had my number. What's up? Hey, are you coming to the get together tonight? My boyfriend didn't tell me if you were coming over or not. Yeah, no, I'm gonna be coming over. I thought your boyfriend already told you. Oh no, I was just confirming. Okay, perfect. Cause like my girlfriends are here and like one of them's like super excited to meet you. At that moment, I really wanted to ask if she could send a photo of this chick to me, but I didn't want to be weird. So I ended up saying, oh yeah, like I'm super excited as well. I remember I heard some girls in the background basically like, getting excited that I was coming over. And when I finally met up with the boys, all the guys were like super hyped up to go meet up with these girls. We all ended up getting in my car. And when I drove down there, I remember when I walked through the front door, we ended up seeing all the girls on the couch just chilling. And when all these guys ended up walking up to the chick that they were talking to throughout the entire school day that day, I ended up realizing that there was no chick left for me. So I ended up looking at my buddy's girlfriend and said, oh, I thought there was gonna be another girl here. And that's when a girl ended up popping up behind me. And she said, oh yeah, that would be me. At that point, I turned around and I saw this girl was the most ugliest chick I've ever seen. Like, usually on this channel, I don't fat shame. I try not to be, you know, super toxic. But for this one moment, let me be, okay? Because this girl was ugly, overweight, and I'm not joking. She was just very not it. Like, it was really not it. To the point where even all the other guys knew in the room that this chick was just the saddest thing to look at. I remember my friend's girlfriend ended up walking up to me as well. And she's like, Baba, this is one of my girlfriends. She is honestly amazing. And no joke, like, she's one of the smartest girls ever. At that moment, I shook her giant hand and I was not even joking. I wanted to puke. I wanted to basically get out of there and I just wanted to leave and never come back. But I remember my buddy ended up walking up to me and he looked at me and said, yo, Bubba, can I talk to you in the other room for a sec? Yeah, sure, is what I said. And I ended up going to the other room. When I got there, I remember I ended up looking at him and I said, bro, you gotta be joking. Listen, man, I didn't know, like, that's what she looked like. I'm gonna be honest. But honestly, bro, you have to take one for the team. Wait, what? Why? Because, Bubba, you gotta understand, man, like, you're our ride. And, like, it's gonna be embarrassing if you leave and, like, she's just gonna basically stop us from ever getting with these girls. You're worried that she's gonna be a cock block? Yeah, bro. So, like, you gotta stay with us. You understand? Just take one for the team. At that moment, I knew what he was asking me to do. And honestly, he was right. As much as I really wanted to leave, boys, you gotta understand, I had to take one for the team. So I remember throughout that whole time of all of us hanging out, we were all just sitting on the couch, watching a movie, passing popcorn to each other. And I think we were watching Star Wars, funny enough. And no joke, out of nowhere, in the middle of the movie, right as we were like in the middle of like watching a battle, apparently everyone started making out with each other except me and this big, massive chick. At that moment, I ended up looking at her and she looked at me and she like kind of like started cuddling me and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, like I wanted to social distance myself from her, but I felt bad because I knew I was supposed to take one for the team. So I remember as me and her got closer, I decided to basically make out with her. And no joke, I never tasted so much saliva in my mouth at once. Now I thought, could it get any worse? Like honestly, could it really get any worse? Well, it did, because I remember throughout the night, it ended up getting to the point where we all ended up like kind of like going into our own like rooms or areas in the house, I should say. And I ended up getting stuck with this girl and she kept basically like putting her body against mine. And no joke, like I never felt so much pressure being pushed up against a wall before. And like I ended up like telling her like, so what do you do for work? Oh, I work at McDonald's. Really? Oh, that's no surprise. What do you mean by that? At that moment, I ended up like making up something on the spot and complimented her. And she like took this compliment so close to heart that no joke, she got even more interested in me, even though I just made fun of her for working at McDonald's. And as this girl was super happy, I remember she ended up coming close to me and no joke, she ended up pushing me up against the wall and she tried to basically, yeah, let's just say she definitely wanted to do the devil's tango. But thank God, one of my buddies ended up walking into the room. He's like, yo, Bubba, we gotta head out soon. My mom needs me home. And at that moment, I ended up pushing her off me and said, oh, well, it was nice meeting you. Oh, can I like get your number? Sorry, I don't have a phone. I ended up leaving and no joke, I was the first one to get to my car and sat there, never wanting to leave. And when finally all the other guys got inside my car, all the girls were waving goodbye, except this one big chick ended up walking up to my driver's side door, ended up telling me to roll down the window and said, Baba, like everyone says you have a phone. Why'd you tell me you didn't have one? I see it right there. At that moment, I just put my car in reverse and drove away. And yeah, no joke, I just basically never wanted to go to that house again if she was there. And also, she ended up leaving town, so I guess I was saved by her not being from where I'm from. But if you guys ever had to take one for the team, then fall for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys.